hello everyone. Now I have a new series that's going to start up that you're going to be so interested in. It's called the Star of the Month. And what I'm doing is I have these amazing graduates from the University of Vedic Astrology that have so much information and knowledge. And I wanted to represent and bring out to the public some of my star students and how they got into astrology, what it's all about for them. And I think you'll be totally interested in their life story because so many people that get into astrology get into it for so many very interesting readings. And so the star of the month this month is Goutam Gupta. And he just graduated from UVA, University of Vedic Astrology. And now he is teaching. See, when everyone graduates, they have the option to be a tutor where they can grade test and work with students themselves. And also after that, then I encourage them to teach some of the courses themselves, as well as form their own semesters and courses so that we're going to have a whole platform of different teachers that teach very interesting subjects that they want to teach and represent through UVA. So UVA has been growing by leaps and bounds, and we have such amazing people. I just want the world to know about some of my fascinating students, such as Goutam. Goutam graduated, and I have to tell you, he is amazing. Talk about a natural with astrology. I mean, you incarnated into this world to be an astrologer. I hope you know that. He's amazing. So I just want to introduce you, and please tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, and how you got into astrology.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Goutam Gupta, and I live here right in the bright and sunny Southern California in Los Angeles. I was born and raised here by my wonderful parents. And my astrology journey began in 2012 during the summer. One day my dad was in the living room and we just started talking about my birth chart all of a sudden because I wasn't having the greatest year in college. So I was really curious to see, where my future was going. At that time, I was just trying to get a job right after graduation, which was going to be 2 years later in 2014. And he went on and on to tell me about, my static potentials, like I will do very well career-wise, I will do very well money-wise, and I would do very well, family-wise. Like, I would have my own family and kids one day. And I was it really uplifted me. And little by little, I started studying transits to see how, planets were affecting me. And it was a slow, gradual process, but day by day, I got really interested. And 2 years later, when I graduated college, I was fortunate enough to get a job in accounting. And that was also the same time where I started taking my CPA exam. Now, this is where my astrological interest really grew exponentially, believe it or not, because little did I know it would take me 6 years to pass this exam and a huge transformation along with my career along the way in order to get my CPA license. It was like, when I look back at it, I was like, oh my God, that was a crazy journey just to get, my license. It took 6 years. And it was kind of the universe's way of pulling me into a different life path. At that time, I didn't know because I wasn't aware enough to know that it was actually leading me towards this life path of astrology. And I was really close. Like, it took me 6 years to get the license, but every time I would not pass the exam, I would not pass it by like 1 or 2 points. And it would be really frustrating, but it also got me more interested in astrology because I personally thought I was running a really good transit. And I kept asking myself, why am I failing by just 1 or 2 points? And long and behold, in 2017, I was really close to passing my last part of my CPA exam. But I didn't, and I actually knew why at that time because transits for me were pretty unfavorable that year. So it didn't shock me, but I knew what was coming ahead. And this is the beauty of astrology, is that if you know any difficult events that are going to come, you can at least mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah.
It's still going to be difficult, but you at least know that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and nonetheless, like I would say from the years 2017 all the way through 2020, those are pretty difficult years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was really trying to uproot my entire way of thinking and my entire way of how I perceive life, so that I could follow this path and become an astrologer. So I could, help people find their life path.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2018, my career took a huge transformation, and it was the week of Thanksgiving. And we actually saw a video of you and Kapil Raj talking about marriage timing. And my parents and I, we watched the whole entire video. And at the end, you guys were talking about the Sedona conference. And needless to say, this was actually my mom's idea. And I thank her to this day that she suggested it, because she was actually the one who suggested that we go to Sedona and meet you and Kapil, because you and Kapil are the two astrologers I follow the most.
Mm-hmm.
And when we got to Sedona, you two were the very first people we met. Like, we didn't see anyone else except for when we checked in the hotel, but you and Kapil. And that immediately became an omen that, okay, this is going to be my life path going forward, because these are the two people I follow the most. And
I actually remember seeing you and your parents outside the hotel. I remember that well.
And I remember seeing the back of you, and I immediately knew it was you. And I saw your husband right next to you, and I immediately went up to you and introduced myself, because I knew this was it. Yeah.
That's so great. And then I remember you being in the class with your parents and all the questions. You guys were in the front row, and you were like, I had so many, and good questions, but you were into it. All questions, and yeah, you wore me out a little bit.
And I have to say that, that was probably the most life-changing trip that we ever took. And my dad still says that to this day, because your cryptocurrency lecture was probably one of the best lectures I went to in that trip. It really got me thinking about, where am I going to invest all this money I made in my job,
Mm-hmm.
And it really, and being somebody who follows astrology myself, I studied my own chart and see, like, okay, I could really do well in this. Like, I should take a chance, because you're not gonna like make money just keeping it on your bank account. You've got to like put it in the stock market or something that's gonna like produce better returns, because you're not making much money in the bank.
Right.
So, and that ended up being one of the best decisions I made. And I thank my parents and I thank you for that.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Yes. And I remember when I did that class between us on cryptocurrency, it was like there were two different classes simultaneously going on. And one was about suffering and moksha, and and mine was about cryptocurrency.
I remember that very well.
Yeah. Guess what class was full?
Of course. Yeah.
The suffering and
because they think suffering leads to enlightenment,
Yes, I agree.
To a certain degree it can, but you've also got to look at prosperity. I mean, the more money you have, the more people you can help. And I learned that from you.
Yes. And and you're starting to help a lot of people, because now you're doing readings, and it's so exciting to see you flourish and grow. Tell us a little bit about your experience with UVA and how you feel like the way the courses are, and what you give me some feedback on that.
Oh, absolutely. So a year and a half later, after we met you in Sedona, I finally passed my CPA, and I just decided, okay, I really don't want to do accounting. I've got to do astrology, because it was just the message was just obvious at that point. Like, I just did not want to look at any more tax codes. So I enrolled in UVA in April of 2020, and it was the best experience I've ever had. I mean, the structure is amazing. You really get what you need to be a good astrologer in UVA. Like, you will not be clueless at all. There are 6 semesters of UVA, and the first 5 semesters have 8 videos. And each video is designed to sequentially help you from A to Z. And that's what I was completely looking for, because I needed structure and organization, because as you and I know, astrology is a very fast subject. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you learn astrology with all these vast rules and techniques and all these houses and charts? Like, there has to
Right.
be a system where a person can learn all these techniques so that they can, make good predictions.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the best, experience that I've had, when I was learning all of this. And what I really love about this is that it's a self-paced course, You never have to feel any pressure about finishing a certain video at a certain time. If life gets in the way, you can take a break and resume back when life gets back to normal. And
Right.
that's what I really love, because I'm the type of person, sometimes I don't do that well with structure, and sometimes I need a break. And sometimes, I really want to exhilarate my studies because it's so fascinating and I have a lot of time. So
Mm-hmm.
it really does give you the freedom of deciding how much time you want to spend on it and when you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really love about UVA is that you also get a tutor who is there to support you. I had a phenomenal tutor. Her name is Elizabeth Waymeyer, and she was just fascinating. She was there for me every step of the way, and she really helped me understand the concept of astrology whenever I had any difficult
Yeah.
times understanding. And that's really a really big support that you don't get anywhere else, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Because you know what I felt like, because Vedic astrology or astrology, either way, is so complex and there's so many rules, I thought, how can I streamline a course so that people are going to get what they need to help other people with
Yeah.
it, with predictions? What is it? And what are the most important things people want to know? They want to know when they're going to meet someone, get married. They want to know when they're going to come into money. They're going to want to know when they get that career, that job. What is their career? They're going to want to know what to do in terms of counseling and remedial measures. What would you do if something's wrong? And they want to know about their health. So I try to figure the things that people ask me the very, very most in readings and make it simple for students to come on board and learn all of this. And you did it so effortlessly. I'm telling you, you did, because you got the concept so quick. Now, didn't you tell me that your father was an astrologer? Tell me a little bit about your background with astrology, your family.
Sure. So my father used to study astrology a lot when he was in India, because he struggled a lot when he was in India, and that's how he got into astrology, because it usually takes a big life event to shift you into that perspective. You're not going to follow spirituality or astrology if you're a billionaire and you have everything you want. I mean, there has to be something in your life
It's
that
true.
puts you into a different perspective.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened while he was in India. And he really wanted to be an astrologer, but when he came to the US, I mean, he got married and he had a family, so he was doing, the job, the duties that, a good husband and a father would do. But he nonetheless, he loved astrology. Until this day, he loves astrology.
No, that's so wonderful. You have so much support around
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
That is just incredible. Well, you have really stepped forward and you're helping me so much. And you're tutoring and helping students now yourself, because you love to teach, I can tell. You've even helped me write articles. You're amazing. I'm just like, the brilliance that comes out of you just totally amazes me. I'm serious about this. You are so natural. But we decided at UVA, we have all these different things to bring people together. We have, where everyone chats now on Telegram. Yeah, Telegram is what we use now. All the students come together and it's a community. But one thing that I thought was really important to help us all grow more, because we're still on the tip of the iceberg with astrology, if you ask me. So I thought it wouldn't be wonderful if we have research projects in groups and we all come together and put all of our minds together. And you have taken the lead with that. and you have really helped bring out a lot where everyone's contributing their research. And, you know, I'll ask a question like, what is this Mars Rahu conjunction going to mean? So I send it out to all and anything that you want to know too, you're able to research, of course.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when we go back in history and we see what happened before with similar aspects, this is how we learn, and this is how we continue to grow with our knowledge and information. Tell everyone about what you've done so far with the research projects.
Yeah, so that, like you said, one of our main goals of this research project is to, you know, research certain events that have happened throughout history that we can use to better predict future events.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on the works of researching various things, like, for example, like, as you said, we were researching the Rahu-Mars conjunction and what has been produced in the past, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And in Vedic astrology, you know, Mars can represent aggression, anger, violence, and whatever Rahu represents, it's going to magnify with that planet.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one of the main things that we were researching. Another thing we are researching right now is finances, because everybody wants to know when the stock market's going to go up, when the stock market is going to go down, when to invest, when to get out. And those are really important cycles that we can research because we've had past events. It's like, for example, 2008, we had a great recession that year. And, you know, Jupiter and Saturn were in a quincunx position. So whenever I see those two planets in that kind of a position, it's not going to be a good year financially for the world.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And you even, you know, I just came out with my May predictions for the year, and you even came up with an exact date in 1962
Yeah.
where you saw Saturn station at the same degree it's going to station this May, as well as Jupiter being in Aquarius. Oh my God, that was just brilliant. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so in May 28th of 1962, we had a flash crash in the economy where the S&P 500, it dropped more than 7%, I believe, that day.
Mm-hmm.
So when I looked at where transiting Saturn and transiting Jupiter were on that day, it kind of mimics what we're seeing right now because, you know, every 60 years, Saturn and Jupiter both return to their same position. So we're now in the year 2021, and long and behold, we have these two planets return back to their same position. So in my mind, I'm just thinking there's gotta be something that's gonna shift the stock market for sure during that time.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting to see how things are gonna go. I mean, it is a good time to prepare, obviously, and go with your gut, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting because you're in accounting and you know about money and finance. What a perfect segue for you in astrology to take those matters, research them, and everyone wants to know, you know, where the stock market's going, where the economy's going, because hey, if you have that information, it's going to make life a lot easier. Isn't that why we got into astrology?
Absolutely. To make better life choices and to get a better perspective, you know?
Exactly. I love that. So tell me what your main interests are for the future in astrology, what you feel like you would like to research or do some work on.
You know, one thing for sure, I would love to research, you know, more about finances and the economy because I think that's what, you know, triggers people's interest. You know, they care about their own personal finance and well-being, and money is not really a bad thing. Like we said, like the more money we have, the more we can help people, and it's not the fact that we have a lot of money that makes us bad. It's like, you know, how we use that money for the highest good.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the main things. Another thing we are currently working on is the, you know, volcanic eruptions. You know, I've noticed that outer planets play a huge role whenever we have volcanic eruptions, and it's just fascinating to me. I have another tutor, Emily Butts, who's been helping me on that, and you know, she's come up with a lot of great stuff about volcanic eruptions. So that's also another really fascinating topic that we're working on as well.
Yes, and I've noticed you've been so open to the way I do astrology, which is incorporating the outer planets with Vedic astrology. They are so huge with events, but You know, and like I always say, they are the collective. It's not like they're the personal planets. They affect the collective consciousness and the subconscious of everyone. Therefore, they are gigantic in world prediction. And you've taken that and run with it, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, I looked at my own chart in past events and I saw, whenever I went through a Pluto transit, yeah, I was affected by it. So that really convinced me, like, okay, like this stuff works. So for all the skeptics out there who are debating whether or not you should use the outer planets, you should. And go back, and my recommendation would be, like, if you know any background of astrology, look at your past events and see if any of those outer planets impacted you.
Yeah,
Most likely they did.
that's amazing when you like take your whole dasha sequence and
Yeah.
you go back in your life and you see everything. I mean, it's remarkable. It still amazes me, and I've been doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
It's like everything just fits in order. It's just the most incredible thing. So one thing about that I really feel wonderful about UVA is the fact that I want to empower all my students to move on and have their own practice. I want to empower them to be, to have this vision and to be able to be professionals and have their own practice. And so what I've started doing is putting up that my graduates are now doing readings. So you can find the graduates on the website where they are now doing readings, and they follow all my tools and all the rules and tools I put out there, and they work. So so any thoughts on your future with astrology and doing readings and all of that?
Yeah. I'm so grateful to be part of UVA because now I have the opportunity to do these readings and help people, find their life path or, answer any questions or doubts that they have about their life. I've just started doing readings on Joni's website. So if anybody wants a reading from me, you can go to Joni's website and there's a list of graduates, who have graduated from UVA. And you can look for my name and just make an appointment, and I'll be more than happy to discuss astrology with you.
Oh my
You know?
God. And let me just say, he's wonderful. He's just beautifully makes predictions, knows everything, helps me with writing monthly. I mean, I'm so grateful I have you as a student. You've really been just a sheer wonder to help me with everything, and everything's just moving on and taking off, and we're expanding and growing.
Absolutely.
And I can't wait to see what you're going to start teaching your semester with UVA. And I always encourage everyone to write a book. I'll be after you on that.
Yeah.
So, but I like to find whatever your greatest interest is. So possibly it's going to be on finances and astrology. You've definitely made that work for yourself.
Yep, it just naturally happened. I wasn't like, if somebody were to tell me like 7 years ago that I would be doing Vedic astrology today, I would have been like, are you crazy? But but sometimes it really does take a big shift in your life to really put you in the correct life path.
It's true. We are always being divinely guided.
Yeah.
Well, is there any last things you want to say, Goutam, about your experience or where you want to go, or help other people that are watching this know more about astrology or the experience you had?
This has been a really amazing journey, for me for the last couple of years. Like it has been a really big roller coaster, but I am so grateful to have found you as my teacher, because I would have not been where I am today had those life events had not occurred in my life. So that is really where I want to leave it. And I want to tell people that, there is hope. No matter how difficult the situation might be, it's always meant to make you stronger in a spiritual level. It's meant to help you grow as a person. And people will not grow unless they're forced to, or if there's a difficult event. Change is never easy. But once you go through that change, you'll never want to go back to the same person you were before.
That's absolutely true. Well, you are a blessing to UVA. I'm so glad that you have joined our community, and you're helping a lot of people and students that you're guiding right now as well.
Yeah.
So I just
Thank
wanted
you, Joni.
everyone to see the greatness that you are and what you brought to our community. And I'm thoroughly blessed to have you. So
So am I. I'm very blessed to have you as well. It's been amazing.
thank you. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your
Thank you,
time.
everyone.
And yeah, and I'll see you in class soon.
All right. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Gotham. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.